Brakes, tires, transmission kits, suspension, all of this might seem scary and complicated, but it's not. You'll see that everything is super easy, and we're gonna break this down for you. First top tip, which has nothing to do with mechanics, but if you need to work on your bike on the field, first thing is get comfortable. Take your helmet off, take your gloves off, take your jacket off, and if needed, open up your pants and open up your boots. You need to be comfortable. Now let's go to the bike. Let's start with the air filter. That's something that a lot of people do not pay attention to. Your air filter needs to be clean, and if it's stock, consider upgrading to one with a better airflow. The bike needs to breathe, it needs oxygen as you do. This one, high flow filter, it allows a lot of air in and it's washable. I can take it out of the bike, I can wash it in the end of the day, and I can slap it back on. Two things with this one. It's not great for off-road because it's super exposed. So all the dirt that's gonna be in the air, especially if you're riding sand or if you're riding really dusty environments, everything's gonna clog it really fast. So if you know this beforehand, pay attention. Half the day, stop, take it out, wash it. Or in the end of the day, stop, take it out, wash it. Another thing you can do is you can grab one of those glass socks that most women use and some men use too, I guess. Just grab one of those socks, cut it up, and put it right here, right in front. Because the sock, either you can take it off if you see it's completely destroyed, as you can do with those like little straps for the goggles. Just take it off, put another one, go. It's quite common for people to change the exhausts on their bikes, and there's nothing wrong with it. My advice is choose one with a DB killer, one that you can insert that little muffler, because it's gonna save you so much headaches, literally headaches on the trip. Usually aftermarket exhausts are extremely loud. Regardless, don't forget that if you change the air filters or the air box in your bike and you change the exhaust, you really need to change the mapping on your bike. And the brake oil right here, well, that has a little level. It says high level and low level. One very big common mistake that people do is when it starts going down, they put more oil. That's no good. The brake system is a closed system, meaning that the oil is not spent. It just moves from one side to the other. Because your brake pad starts like this, and as you brake, it starts becoming smaller and smaller. So the oil level needs to go down as it goes down. So when you put new brake pads, it goes up again. You can use the same oil for a long time actually. So when you see the oil level going down, it means that you need to check your brake pads. If you keep adding oil, you never have this measurement. These are the brake pads. So every time you brake, they go against the disc that also needs to be replaced from time to time, and this little part right here becomes thinner and thinner. So when this goes thinner, it needs to move more oil into this to be able to squeeze it and to brake the bike. These brake pads. Now you know. Super common mistake I see people do is when they're adjusting the tension of your chain, and you need to know how to do this. The chain needs to have some slack. This is the slack of the chain. Adjust your chain with two people if you can. And why? Because imagine right now, I adjust the chain, and then when I sit on the bike, my weight was not here when I adjusted it. So right now, it's like this. If I sit on the bike, it's gonna be completely different. It's gonna be a lot more tight. So imagine that you have your bags off your bike and you are off your bike and you adjust your chain. You put yourself on the bike, you put your bags on the bike, and then the chain is gonna be so tight it can break, and they do break. So make sure to either adjust it the first time with someone else, with you on top of the bike, with all the gear that you're gonna take with the bike, and if you are riding two up, put your passenger on the bike with you. Ask someone else to make sure the adjustment is good, then take everything out, get off the bike, and check how much slack that is. Imagine is 5 centimeters of slack without anything on the bike. Now you can adjust your chain alone, because you know you need to create 5 centimeters, because then when you put everything on your bike, including yourself, the slack is going to be perfect to ride on. The engine is the soul and heart of your bike. It is what gets it moving. Without a good engine, you're not gonna go anywhere. And when I say a good engine, I'm not saying that it needs to be an extremely powerful, very round, or very peaky or very torquey engine. No, whatever engine you have is good. Any bike's an adventure bike, so choose the one you can, buy the one you can afford, and go on your adventure. Better to do that than to save for 50 years and then you didn't went anywhere because, well, time flies. But you need to keep the one that you have in good condition. There's two main things you can do to keep your bike good. Spark plugs that work, because when a spark plug stops working, it's not gonna go anywhere. So make sure that you know where the spark plugs are on your bike and the lifespan that they should have, and make sure to check to see if you can or cannot or should not change them before time. That has to do with your preemptive maintenance, but make sure to see that and to know that. And the other thing, and this is where I wanted to hit a little bit deeper, is engine oils. Make sure to have really good engine oils. Spend a little bit more money if needed, and don't buy the cheapest thing you have. Engine oils are like blood. They're the blood of your bike. You wouldn't put bad blood on you just because it's cheaper. So do not use a bad engine oil on your bike, because it's not going to work the same and it's not going to give you the reliability that you need from your engine and from your bike. Good oils make a difference. I'm working with Motorex, and as far as I'm concerned, they have the best oils in the market, but this is not a paid endorsement, it's just my opinion, and thank you to the Motorex guys for making sure that my bike's gonna get to the end of the world and back. The radiator water is usually this thing right here that, well, it's usually pink, green, it's always really powerful colors. Mainly to make sure you don't drink it. It's not water. Look at it, see if the level is good, check it, and depending on the kind of weather you're riding, there are specific waters to put. Some are for more temperate climates, some are for extreme climates, may that be hot or cold. But keep in mind that you need to change and you need to adjust for the climate that you're gonna encounter. Good tires, this is what you need, and you need to choose the tires for what you need to do. So off-road, on-road, dual sport, half and half, you need to decide what you're gonna do when you buy your tires. Don't forget, the pressure is really important. Make sure that you check them every day. A good, constant air pressure tire is gonna make your tire last longer, and it's gonna be safer for you when you're riding. Spokes. For me, black magic. I never managed to get one wheel straight, having to readjust my spokes. So I'm not one to teach you how to do it. Neither would I, because it's really difficult to do it on a stand, at least for me, and it would for sure be difficult to do it on the field. But one thing you need to keep in mind is at least know if they're loose or not. One very good way to do that is exactly this. Just ride them around with a twig or your keys or whatever. One of them, if it's loose, it's gonna sound weird. And even if you do not know how to fix it, or if you cannot fix it on the field, you already know one is not good. So when you get to your next station, when you get to your next place to do maintenance, tell your mechanic one of them is loose and they'll be able to fix them for you. What I strongly advise is, if you do not know how to do this, don't try. You're gonna make it a lot worse. It's better to have one or two loose and you know that they are there, and when you get to the next place you get to fix them, than to try and readjust it, because that's gonna bend your rim and that's gonna make your ride either really uncomfortable or potentially dangerous. So keep that in mind. It is cool though. In one way or another, all bikes have them. They have suspensions, and although I'm not going to explain to you how suspensions work, because that would be a completely different episode, let's keep one thing in mind. This part is going to slide on this part. It can be the other way around. Usually on the large majority of new bikes it is, and on this one it will also be, because we're going to change the suspension, but this is going to slide into this. And right here in the middle, you have a seal. That seal sometimes breaks. It's quite normal for them to break. my top tip and my best advice is make sure before you go on your adventure trip to change that seal into a new one and to have a reinforced seal. It's completely different to ride with reinforced seals than the original seal that comes with the bike. It's very different to have a little leak or to have a running leak. A little leak, well, drive slower, try to hit less things, try to drive more carefully, but you can drive. If it has no oil, if it's completely dripping down, then you have a problem. For two reasons. One, you're not going to have oil inside your suspension, and then it's going to leak into your brakes. It's going to leak into your brakes. You're going to want to brake, and your brakes are completely filled with oil, meaning you're not going to brake. So just keep this in mind. There's a big difference between a drop from time to time that will create an oil leak appearance and an actual oil leak. They are not one and the same, so keep that in mind. I almost forgot, when you ask your suspension guide to change the seals, if you're not going to do it yourself, because on the back one you also have seals, so when you ask your suspension guide to change the seals and to change the oil and maybe to even readjust the spring for something different, also ask him to adjust the spring and the oils for 3 weights. The weight of your bike, your weight, and the weight of everything you're gonna take with you on a big adventure trip. So a couple of things just to wrap it up. Make sure that your clutch lever and your clutch cable are lubrified, meaning that they do take oil to lube them. It will make them work a lot better. Make sure that your throttle cable is in good condition. You don't want one to snap on you, and make sure that your battery is a good one. And when I say good one, personally I use lithium, but there's many different kinds of batteries that will reduce a lot of weight, will reduce a lot of space, and will make a lot more sense for adventure riding because they will hold a lot more. And as far as we are concerned, next week I'm gonna meet you here again on Wednesday. Join me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. Comment down below. Let me know, do you do your own maintenance or do you pay someone else to do it? But you follow their work and you make sure that everything that's being done there is exactly what you need. If you're not subscribed yet, do consider subscribing and hit that big thumbs up. That would appreciate that a lot. So I'll see you guys next week. Now I'm off to test the bike some more.